You are obsolete, Patricia. We need energy. That is exactly what the dean said to my face when he forced me out of the university after 30 years. He told me I didn't speak the language of the modern generation. He wanted someone fresh, someone viral. Well, be careful what you wish for. 3 weeks later, I sat in my living room staring at a live stream of my replacement standing on my stage. He was 31 years old, wearing ripped jeans and holding the microphone sideways. I watched in horror as he looked at 300 honors sociology students, future judges and senators, and said, "Yo fam, Karl Marx was basically just the original influencer, no cap." I saw the students' faces drop. I saw the confusion. And in that moment, as I watched the disaster unfold in real time, I realized Dean Harrington hadn't just fired me. He had started a war, and he was about to lose. But to understand the magnitude of his mistake, you have to understand the conversation that started it all. It happened exactly 1 month prior. I was summoned to Dean Harrington's office, a glass aquarium that looked down upon the historic brick buildings of our campus. Dean Harrington was a man who wore a smartwatch that buzzed every 30 seconds and spoke in a language of metrics and optics, never knowledge. He didn't offer me coffee. He just clasped his hands on his empty desk and smiled that thin, corporate smile. "Patricia," he began, "we need to discuss the trajectory of the sociology department. Enrollment is down. The feedback from our focus groups, mostly prospective students from TikTok demographics, is that your curriculum is dense." "Sociology is dense, Dean," I replied, keeping my voice even. "Max Weber and Emil Durkheim are not meant to be consumed in 15-second bites." "Agreed, agreed," he waved a hand dismissively. "But we need engagement. We need to pivot. The board feels that your sage-on-the-stage model is a barrier to the modern learner. We're asking you to take an early retirement package. It's generous. We're bringing in someone new. Tyler, he's 31, fresh from a digital media think tank. He's going to gamify the syllabus." "Gamify," I repeated. The word tasted like ash in my mouth. "You are replacing 30 years of scholarship with a game? The world has moved on, Patricia. You should too." I didn't argue. There is no point in arguing with a calculator. I packed my office, the books, the thesis papers of students who became judges and social workers, and I walked out, feeling like a ghost in my own life. For weeks, I sat in my garden, pruning roses until my hands ached, trying to convince myself that I was ready to fade away. But then the emails started coming, not from faculty, but from the students. "Dr. Owens, is it true you quit? Dr. Owens, please come back. This is a nightmare." And then Sarah, a brilliant junior student, sent me the link to that live stream I just described. The one where Tyler, my replacement, was trying to start a TikTok challenge to explain social stratification, while the students looked on in absolute horror. Dean Harrington thought he knew what the modern learner wanted. He thought because they were young, they were stupid. He thought they needed entertainment. But he forgot that these students paid $50,000 a year for an education, not a circus. The revolt didn't start with a scream. It started with silence. 3 days after that disastrous lecture, I received a call from Sarah. "Dr. Owens, turn on the local news." I turned on the TV. There, outside the administration building, were 300 students. They were sitting in perfect, disciplined silence. They held signs that read, "We want education, not entertainment," and "Bring back Dr. Owens." A reporter was interviewing the student body president. He looked directly into the camera and said, "The administration thinks we are shallow. They fired a brilliant professor because of her age. We are demanding Dr. Owen's returns, or we are filing a formal complaint with the accreditation board. My phone rang. It was Dean Harrington. Patricia, his voice was breathless. I could hear the chanting in the background. We seem to have a miscommunication. Hello, Dean, I said, pouring myself a cup of tea. How are the engagement metrics looking today? Look, the students are unhappy. We want to offer you your position back, effective immediately. Tyler didn't work out. You want me to come back? Yes, please, just come back and calm them down. I took a sip of tea. I looked at the stack of letters from a rival university, St. Jude's College, that had arrived that morning. They had offered me a chair position, a 40% salary increase, and total autonomy. They didn't care how old I was. They cared about what I knew. I'm afraid I can't do that, I said softly. What? Patricia, we can discuss salary. It's not about the money, Dean. It's about respect. You assumed my students were stupid. You broke the trust between the institution and the learner. I suggest you listen to them. Maybe they can teach you something about sociology. I hung up. The following semester, I stood at a podium at St. Jude's College. The room was full. I looked out at the sea of young faces, bright, eager, and waiting to be challenged. I didn't use a microphone. I didn't use a meme. Good morning, I said. Please open your books to page 1. We have a lot of work to do. The silence that followed was perfect. It was the sound of respect. And for the first time in months, I knew exactly where I belonged.